What's going on, people? Mike C-Town here with another episode of You've Seen It. I was supposed to do this video before I went out of town to go to California to Star Wars Celebration, which was fucking awesome. I will be doing a video on that. That'll hopefully, maybe sometime this week, will be on the channel. But I just got really busy before I took off, so I'm doing it now. So I was talking to somebody in the comment section of one of these videos, and he was talking about how this is sort of like a book club. And that's what I would like this to be more than anything. You know, more than just you guys sitting around listening to a talking head say what he thought about a movie. I want you guys to actually see the movie and start conversations and talk with me about what you thought about the movie. So some of you guys requested no spoilers because you want to watch my review to see if you should actually go see the movie. But the thing is, I totally disagree with the idea of seeing a movie based on a good or bad review. Taste is totally subjective, as you guys know, and a movie I might love might be the worst thing that you've ever fucking seen. So if you don't like spoilers, I would say you should probably go ahead and just turn this video off, and then maybe after you see the movie, come back to me, man, and check me out. So for this, You've Seen It, I am going to talk about the movie It Follows. It Follows is a movie by David Robert Mitchell. It revolves around this girl who's a relatively sweet and decently intelligent girl who ends up having sex with this guy in the back seat of his car. Classy. At that moment, she's passed on some sort of entity, and that entity follows her around, walking extremely slowly. And the rule is, if it touches you, you die. So that's the basic plot of the film. So the way it starts is, well, first thing, I'm really impressed with the chick at the very beginning who is running around in high heels, not a wobbly ankle, you know, or anything like that. The girl is killed in a very interesting looking way, and I'm almost glad that you don't see exactly how this happens, but it does start to give me kind of like a Ring vibe. So I start to feel like, okay, is that the way every kill in this movie is gonna be? Because that idea can go from being really cool to just a bit boring for those of us that like our horror movies with a little bit of gore. Now, the positives. One good thing I can say about this movie is it definitely has a great creep factor. It doesn't go for the gore. It doesn't really go for the pop-out jump scares. It's more atmosphere, which I can definitely appreciate. Throughout the entire film, you're filled with this intense feeling of tension. You know, you're constantly looking around like, bruh, this is some bullshit. What the fuck is going on? I'll also say there were quite a few hell nah moments in this film. First one, the scene in the kitchen with the girl that was walking all slow while she's pissing herself and her boobies just hanging out. Hell nah. That ridiculously tall Matumbo ass dude that had to duck to get into the room. Hell nah. That little punk ass boy that crawled in the hole when they were on the beach. Man, hell nah. That shit had me looking at little white kids with the side eye, like more than I already do. Now on to my issues with this film. I think the idea was great. The whole premise of the movie is a really good one. My issue comes in with the execution. I'm totally fine with a movie not being fully explained, but there's a really big difference between ambiguity and the idea feeling like it wasn't properly fleshed out. Since this has a John Carpenter vibe, I'll bring up Prince of Darkness, which is one of my favorite movies. That movie was not explained in detail, but it gave you enough to derive your own ideas and kind of argue in your own head about what might be going on. You don't really quite get why the hell there's a big vat of green liquid in the basement, or what the hell this vat actually is, but you're intrigued by it, and given all the other crazy shit that's going on in this movie, it's enough to make you come up with your own ideas. Same with Honeymoon, which I thought was fantastic. You don't really know exactly what happened there, as in why the girl's acting the way she is, but it doesn't matter because the way it's set up and the way it's executed is done so well that you're left coming up with your own ideas. It Follows doesn't come off that way to me. To me, it came off as a great idea with really lazy execution. Like the writer didn't have a full story in his head. He just kind of threw it out there and said, you know, we don't care if the audience doesn't figure it out, because in reality, there's nothing to figure out. Someone on Twitter actually did tell me that the idea came to the director as a dream, which is fine, but that doesn't mean you have to deliver it to us the same way. Something else that bothered me was the acting. You know, the only people worth a shit as far as acting goes, I thought, were the main actress, Myke Monroe, who plays Jay, and Keira Gilchrist, who plays Paul. Everyone else, nah, bruh. Quick side note, Yara, Olivia Luccardi, fucking hot. She's wearing these cute, huge glasses, and she reminds me of Maddie Ferguson from Twin Peaks. That's just a side note, but bruh. Something else that bothered me, where the hell are the fucking parents? I know it's a shout out to the older films where the parents always miraculously disappear for some reason, and they're never present throughout the majority of the movie, and that's fine. But harking back to the older horror movies, you can leave some of the dumber factors out. They disappeared to drive all night to go find the guy that gave Jay this weird, demonic, whatever the fuck, and no parental presence. The kid across the street is murdered. No parental presence. Girl gets shot in the fucking leg. No parental presence. Even at the very beginning, this chick is running through the street in her high heels and these little baby shorts, acting crazy, and the only thing we hear as far as a parental presence is the dad going, you know, hey, baby, are you okay? She's fucking walking backwards in the middle of the goddamn street, looking like she's scared as fuck. What do you mean, are you okay? And he doesn't even come out of the fucking doorway. Like, it just starts to get a little bit ridiculous. I understand when you watch movies, you have to suspend disbelief. And that's fine, but this movie kind of makes you suspend it maybe a little bit too much. I did not like the holes in the story. The original guy said, if it touches you, you die. Okay, fine, and that makes for a really cool idea as far as the monster goes. But here's the thing. Remember it smacked the living shit out of Paul on the beach? Paul didn't die, did he? So, did he mean that only the person it's chasing dies if they're touched? Well, if that's the case, remember when they were inside the pool? It touched Jay's ankle. She didn't die. Only thing that happened was it left some little fucking hand marks, some burned hand marks on her leg. So can someone explain that? Do you only live if the demon is wet? Like, what the fuck? Overall, I can only say this movie is enjoyable, but that's kind of where it stops. Was it scary? Absolutely not. Was it exceptionally unique? Absolutely not. And this is why I try not to listen to critics or the hype machine. They will always lead you astray. I saw all kinds of statements about how this is the scariest horror movie in years. And this is so incredibly different from your average horror movie. Now, this isn't the movie's fault at all. But I think that's where things tend to get a little bit fucked up. When you overhype a movie and start attaching labels to it like best of and scariest and whatever, etc., everything really stops being about the movie and it starts being about defending that title or disproving that statement. And that kind of sucks for the actual film. You know, just like The Babadook. You know, I saw that movie right around when it came out and the hype was already there, so I was expecting something really good. And instead, I walked away thinking this movie totally sucked. So after that movie and after this movie, I'm a bit annoyed with myself for actually listening to the hype machine. You know, in fact, I'm actually more annoyed with myself than I am for the people that needlessly hyped this movie up. I should know better at this point in time to listen to the fucking hype machine. Lastly, I want to say that by the end of this movie, I started to feel a little bit annoyed. You know, the whole STD idea was very, very, very obvious. But then it started to feel like a PSA for not having sex before marriage or something. You know, I don't know if the director really planned it out like that, but it definitely felt that way to me. Like, if I didn't know any better, I would swear that this was some weird religious movie made to scare people away from fucking. And if that's the case, then this movie really moves into the super lame category for me. You know, it seriously then becomes the equivalent of a fucking Christian death metal album. So that's it. As I made aware, while this was entertaining, I didn't really care for this movie. So, you seen it? And if so, what I'd like to know from you guys is, what made this so interesting to you? What was so unique about it? What was so good about it to you? What aspects of this movie made it so enjoyable for you. Leave some comments in the C section down there. And yeah, that's it. As usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you. And I will see you guys very soon. All right? Peace, bitches.